You have to decide where you want to be a Canadian company with some international customers, or you are really a global player with the Canadian roots.
Can't develop the trust, the relationship, and the understanding of what really needs to happen without being there. Your physical presence is absolutely huge.
Most companies, they expand as an afterthought, but the most successful ones, they're built with a global perspective from the very first day.
Unless you have very strict financial measures, it's not just once a quarter or once a year you look at your financials. You have to be a weekly or a monthly discipline to steer that ship in the right direction.
Hi everyone, this is Maheen from the CanadianSME Small Business Podcast. Today we're digging into the reality of building a global business, not in theory, but in practice. Our guest today lead PLC Group, a Canadian-rooted global operator that is transforming the telecom and data center markets. Since 2014, PLC Group has been exporting its expertise to over 20 countries, delivering actionable intelligence to optimize critical infrastructure. They don't just sell technology, they provide the engineering, software, and operational backbone for massive global networks. Joining us are the architects of this expansion. We have Nasir Mahmood, the founder and CEO. Nasir is a visionary engineer with over 30 years of experience who has taken PLC Group from a Canadian startup to a global player with deployments across North America, Asia, and the Middle East. Second, we have Dave Smargon, the Chief Operating Officer. Dave brings decades of operational leadership in wireless manufacturing and strategy, ensuring that PLC's global scale is matched by rigorous execution. Today, they share the hard-won lessons of expanding beyond borders, and we'd love to dive deeper into this particular topic. Welcome, Dave and Nasir. We're very pleased to have you on the show today. How are you both?
Thank you.
I'm doing well, thank you.
Right.
Now, yes, of course. Now, most companies, they expand as an afterthought, but the most successful ones, they're built with a global perspective from the very first day. When you both say a company is global, what does that truly mean beyond geography, and what must leadership get right from day one?
Yeah, thank you for asking the question. So I think it's really is getting out of your comfort zone. So as we see a lot of Canadian companies are very comfortable with doing the business within Canada or North America. Now we have a different reality. So for us, we made a choice a few years ago,
right,
to go where the growth is. And we also aligned ourselves with the Canadian government objectives. Where they said that there's an Indo-Pacific strategy. So we went into Asia Pacific and Middle East market. So that's where the growth is. That's not where the circumstances or the conditions are very comfortable. Mm-hmm. We have to explore these new markets. There's a distance, there's a time zone difference, the new realities, new cultures and all that. So we went there by choice. So you have to decide where you want to be a Canadian company with some international customers, or you are really we are a global player with the Canadian roots. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of benefits to that as well. So Canada has a very big, good name worldwide, very good reputation for quality and reliability, and people are willing to pay a premium as well for your services. Right. But you have to invest your time. You have to make a commitment. So this is by choice that you have to invest your time and resources and be patient. That's another thing that
Oh, that is such a powerful distinction, and it shows that being global, it is a mindset of scalability rather than just a collection of office locations. Now let's turn our focus to navigating the realities of new countries and new markets. Please tell us, what are the biggest operational challenges when launching in a new country, and how do you decide where to adapt versus stay consistent?
Yeah, we'll take that one. So the first part of the question, adapting in a new country, it's actually being there. You got to have a presence. You got to understand the culture, the personnel, the customer in particular, and what their proclivities are, what they're really after, what makes sense for them, and then begin to align our offering towards what they need. And, fend off the competition by proving that what you say is what you can do. Mm-hmm. And I think the biggest single challenge, though, is really that first win, is that vote from the customer that, yeah, your solution is the one we want. Right. Once you get there, I think a lot of the rest of it falls into place. But your physical presence, whether it's you or trusted team members, is absolutely huge. You can't do it remotely. As much as we do remotely now, you can't develop the trust, the relationship, and the understanding of what really needs to happen without being there.
That's a brilliant strategy, and it proves that consistency in your core values, it allows for the flexibility that is needed to win locally. This is if you are thinking about taking your business across borders, and please don't go in blind. Learn from this conversation that we had with the experts at PLC Group about how to de-risk your international expansion, why financial discipline is your best friend when scaling, and how to leverage Canadian government programs to turn your global dreams into a reality. Now let's shift our focus to why strong financial discipline is essential for or during rapid global growth. How do you manage financial reporting and performance tracking across regions to really prevent growth from becoming a liability?
Yeah, I think this financial tracking or mechanism is crucial to your success. So, as much as you can get excited about the business, but you also have very different realities in other parts of the world. So, and unless you have very strict financial measures, it's not just once a quarter or once a year you look at your financials and how am I doing, right? Mm-hmm. So you got to look at so many different ways, cash flow challenges. You have to look at how the customers are paying, how reliable those payment structures are, how much money you're spending, where are you spending this. So you almost have to be a weekly or a monthly discipline, and so this is to steer that ship in the right direction financially, right? Mm. So that's what we've been doing. We were not very good in the beginning, but now we have all those matrices. And understanding the realities of different markets and different cultures, different countries is also part of it. One of the other significant part is also understanding the payment cycles, for example.
Right.
So depending on your product or service, you can have a different product, cycle of the. So this is where the Canadian government and especially the EDC support comes very handy. They provide that bridging support to us by the time we order the equipment and the inventory to the time that we get paid. So that's a support that we can rely on. Another instrument that EDC in particular has is also the insurance, the receivable insurance. When you get into the international markets, I will highly recommend that everybody uses it, because when you're stepping outside of the North America and Europe, the things could be very tricky sometimes. Mm-hmm. So you got to protect yourself, and as much as you're excited about the business and expansion, but you got to make sure that you protect yourself against any unforeseen things as well. So financial discipline, rigorous financial discipline, and relying onto these instruments is kind of the key for us.
Absolutely. That's such a vital reality check. And it emphasizes that real-time data is the only way to maintain control when the world is your marketplace. We're going to take a short break right here. Please stay with us. When we return, we'll unpack the people and partnership strategies that make global execution actually work.
Hey, you think you know UPS? Yeah, that's us. Everybody knows that. You know what you didn't know? This. Okay, try to keep up. Ocean, us. Ground, rail, air, so us. Guess who? Us. Customs cleared, borders cleared, done. Us. Still with me? Wait for it. Boom. Us. Intelligent, automated, fulfillment. Us. Yep, healthcare too. Digital your thing? Yeah, well, book it, ship it, track it. You feeling me yet? Yep, that's all us. That's all UPS.
Welcome back, everyone. Let's dive into the real engine behind global scale building trusted local teams and partnerships that deliver on strategy. Now let's look at how local teams and partnerships make global strategy work. How do you evaluate and select local resources to ensure trust and execution quality?
Yeah, that's also a very good question. It's not so different from doing it here. We've done a lot of hiring. When you grow, you do a lot of hiring. Sometimes that's done well, sometimes not so well. So one of the things you can't be afraid of is, all right, we got to make a different decision. You got to be positioned to say that's not working and make a decision quickly and recover.
Right.
But I think the main thrust is to really, once again, be there. When you're in country, you have to be there, interview people face to face, and really get to understand whether their values and their desires and goals are in alignment with yours. Easier said than done, because a lot of times we're walking into a culture that we're not steeped in, and we have to kind of pick it up as we go.
Right.
And we've mostly had pretty good luck. And, there's always a test point at the beginning where you measure the value of partnerships. And those partnerships can grow into even employee relationships or subcontractor relationships. But I think the key thing is to that face-to-face engagement. And the follow-up is, sometimes you don't get it right, and you got to make quick decisions in order to recover. You pick the wrong horse to bet on, you gotta move to another horse and not keep throwing good money after bad. So
Right.
those are valuable things to think about. That don't be afraid of making mistakes. You got to do what you got to do. But if you it's not working out, then make a good decision to recover quickly.
Oh, it's absolutely clear. I guess
If I can add to that,
Of
I
course.
think it's also understanding the culture as well. The local culture is critical to that as well. So how we North Americans work, and sometimes that's not the same approach doesn't work in every. It doesn't mean that the people are don't want to deliver, but it's or something, but it's a different culture. So that
Right.
understanding of the culture is also with a face-to-face meeting, whether it's the individuals working for us or selecting the right partners and all that as well. Yeah. So that's why a lot of trips.
water trips are required. No, that is
Right, yeah.
it is important. I mean, whatever you both mentioned, it is important, and it's clear that vetted partnerships, they are the secret sauce to scaling without losing the soul of the company. Finally, let's move our conversation to why Canada is such a strong base for global expansion. How have Canadian government programs helped PLC Group expand globally?
Well, this is a topic that is very close to my heart. That especially in our times, and when we were so we started in 2014, and we started growing. Initially, at that stage, when the companies are fragile, a lot of this help from Canadian Can Export, IREP Canada, the many other programs that really helped us in that time to stabilize our company and grow at that time. When we grow, the requirements also changed for us as well. So like I mentioned before about the EDC programs and the much larger program for innovation. So those became very important. So I would say Canadian government support, whether it's the Trade Commissioner Services, Can Export, EDC, IRAP, many other programs like that. And Canada has a very, very good programs. I don't think any other country in the world has that kind of strong support for businesses to grow. And Canada invests a lot of money in that, right? And right now, more than ever before, Canadian government is helping. They're paving the paths by negotiating a free trade agreement, with different countries. and different territories or different, different areas. So I think that's, I mean, there's so much detail about this, but I would say that has been instrumental to our growth, and we're very thankful for that support. And I think that what we can do as a small, medium businesses, that we play our part, that we grow this economy and we become reliant or less reliant on some of our bigger, the partners.
Well, that is such a great reminder that the Canadian ecosystem, it provides such a massive tailwind for entrepreneurs who know how to navigate the available support. Now, as you wrap up, and by the way, this is such a great conversation. Thank you for so much of what you shared with our listeners today in such a limited amount of time. If there's one core idea that our listeners should remember about building a world-ready business in 2026, what would it be?
I'm going to give that first shot. I think for us, there's a fundamental characteristic, or belief system, if you will, that we talk about quite a bit with company employees, but we also engage our customer community and subcontractors with that same approach. It's a huge focus on the customer and delivering value, but it's propped up by the working relationships we develop amongst each other,
right,
and with our partners, whether they're subcontractors or people we hire outside to help us out. And it's maintaining that core set of beliefs really keeps us moving in the right direction. And it's all about executing on behalf of the customer. And as long as we stay with those core beliefs and that alignment, things tend to fall into place. We got to get those wins. We got to get that win. It's very competitive when you're on the outside looking in. But once you get on the inside and you have the opportunity to really deliver, that's something I think from a PLC perspective, that's something we pride ourselves in and do really well. We do very well.
You're saying.
Yeah. And just adding to that is just we are going through some uncertain time. I mean, we're talking about our industry. We've been very fortunate that we're in an industry that we've not been impacted. But there's many other industries, other small businesses and large businesses in Canada. They're going through the uncertain times. I think my message is that that we have to be persistent in these uncertain times,
right?
And believing in yourself, and really looking at beyond this particular moment or the turbulence that we're going through right now. That will be the key. Yeah.
No, this was such an inspiring note to end things on. Thank you to the both of you for sharing the PLC Group roadmap with us today and for sharing such great insights and expertise. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
You're very well.
Pleasure being here.
Thank you for the opportunity here.
Thank you to our guests for sharing the blueprint behind PLC Group's global success. For our listeners, if you want to learn more about intelligent infrastructure that can transform your operations, please visit plcgroup.com. Thank you for tuning into the podcast. Please be sure to subscribe and visit CanadianSME.ca for more resources. A special shout out to our partners, UPS, Avon Global College, Google, and ADP for their ongoing commitment to empowering small businesses across Canada.